How should brands respond to coronavirus? This is seemingly the most debated and highly discussed question across the globe in the last couple of weeks. As the severity of the coronavirus outbreak began, brands took a very cautious approach. The product press releases and the adverts slowed down while the social media messaging totally diminished. But after a couple of days, brands are not holding back any longer. As these communications rise, so does the risk for the brand. This crisis is not a sales opportunity. Consumers are especially sensitive to anything that looks like exploiting the current situation. Brands really need to be incredibly careful because consumers are more vigilant on the market movement and are taking notes. So let me share some insights on understanding the consumer psychology during pandemic in 6 key points. Point number 1. Understand the hypersensitive consumer. There is a good percentage of people that are really angry about the current ugly situation they are put in because this situation did not rise from their direct actions. So it's very important for brands to subtly manage the relationships with such consumers. Brands today are feeling totally pressurized to put the message effectively but not sound too sensitive. To understand from a psychology perspective, in times of stress and anxiety, consumers tend to be hypersensitive. And it's very important for brands to get it really right. The regular marketing campaigns, the social media outreach, the connect to the customers in the B2C format or the B2B format are a big no. Number 2, don't self-serve your brand. Some brands have put out ads that try to encourage social distancing by re-imaging and tweaking their logos. McDonald's in Brazil, for instance, have distanced its golden arch from the letter M, stating that it encourages social distancing. But it raised a strong rebuke from the people. They didn't like it. Coke ran a Times Square billboard ad featuring its brand name, normally written in a tightly connected script with spacing between each letter. People did not like that either. Don't use logos to make a statement about you, your needs, and your business. This is often a bad thing to do. Self-serving at this time of crisis is often perceived negatively by the general public. And the impressions consumers earn on your brand is pretty dangerous. Consumers are afraid and they are in a state of anxiety. They are not keen on decoding your logos. Point number 3. Talking is good, but action is the need of the hour. We should thoroughly appreciate the many companies that have come forward to respond to the current crisis. Developing the solutions and the products that are needed for the situation is the way forward for all of us. In the last week, numerous companies have shot up their philanthropic activities. Alcohol brands are now coming up with hand sanitizers. Ford is partnering with 3M to bring out respirators. The Indian company Tech Mahindra is bringing in ventilators at an affordable cost. This is the right approach. Anything that we talk is just not enough. It's really about what you're doing. What consumers are looking for is unity, trust, and a sense of care. Firms do have a business opportunity, but that opportunity should be whirling around the consumer needs. The consumer needs that have cropped up from the coronavirus pandemic. The new heroes out there are not celebrities. Brands must still communicate their actions. After all, the success of a brand is synonymous to livelihood for a lot number of people. People wanted to hear meaningful stories, and brands need to communicate their actions through their frontline workers. They should be the star campaigners for the brand. Tell people how you're doing, how you honor your frontline employees, how you're taking care of your distribution systems. Today, our heroes are the truck drivers, the grocery stockers, the restaurant employees, and owners of small businesses. People have suddenly lost interest and connect with the celebrities. And the reason is, we're not looking out for a celebrity to come and endorse a product that we need today in the time of crisis. All these little people around the world have become the stars. And these stories are what you need to attach to your communication. Attach these human elements to your communication, and these positive stories will make the consumers a little warmer in these colder times. Consumer behaviors are shifting. They're changing each day. They're now working remotely and from home. They're scouting new ways to shop and new ways to connect. And those brands that are resistant to change all these days will now have to come out and try new things. For example, there are customers who are used to walking down to a bank and depositing a check. But now, these customers would embrace the new applications that would allow them to do a mobile check deposit. And this shift in consumer behavior will not stop in the next few weeks or the next few months. This looks to sustain in the long term, which shifts the paradigms, which refines the thought process, and which also rubbishes the established dogma of the business and consumer connect. In addition, we also need to be wary of the fact that there would be a strong reluctance from the consumers to spend, and brands should not quickly try to reinstill the desire to buy in the consumers, because consumer spending largely depends on whether or not they're going to get the money next month or whether or not they have the next paycheck coming in. So brands should have the right patience in these times and ensure that the feelings of insecurities get suspended totally from the consumers. When it comes to your social media strategy, you cannot simply approach the current crisis as something to capitalize on. COVID-19 has got life and death consequences for many individuals and families. So don't link your brand to the health calamity just because the world is talking about it. This doesn't mean you should stop advertising or marketing your products. The services that need to be sold during the crisis should be communicated in a totally different way. Every product, campaign or ad that you're trying to put out should be watched or thoroughly revised through a lens of empathy. While many organizations are taking measures to help people, if you believe your organization isn't having any products or services that have a role to play in the crisis, that's totally fine. You can focus on a more human approach. Why not support the non-profit organizations? Highlight the services of non-profit organizations that provide resources and relief to the people that are in need. Right now, it's not really about how much we stretch or how much we reach. It's really about how much we stand out. So what do consumers value the most when we come out of this crisis? Consumers are watching. They're watching if the company already started laying off. Did employers take good care of the employees? Did the people at the highest level forego their salaries so that everyone can stay afloat? These things matter a lot for the consumers. Unfortunately, building this internal morale has also become a marketing thing. Nevertheless, offering that sense of human connection will build a positive mindshare for the brand. Finally, I believe this whole concept of social distancing was poorly branded across the world. It's not social distancing. We can still be social, we can still be virtually connected, but it's the physical distancing that's more important. We are in difficult times and we need each other more than ever before. Let's practice not social distancing, but social embeddedness with physical distancing. Thanks a lot for being here.